Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a fucking ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
Today is February 3rd, 2020, the day after the Super Bowl.
So is this the start of the 2020 season?
This is it. There it is.
Football New Year.
Football is now done and over with. Wrap 2019 up with a bow, put it in a drawer, and hibernate until September.
Boo.
Boo. What is it? I said last night, it was like 30 weeks or something. It's a crazy amount of weeks before football starts again. This is the worst time of the year. That's why I'm saying we got to start getting into the draft so we can be excited about this time of year. Yeah.
Well, now the XFL is coming out, so maybe we should pick that up.
I can't even remember when it starts. I know it's in February. It might have already started for all I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. So what do you think about the game? Super Bowl, 49ers at the Chiefs. 49ers.
I don't remember much of the game.
Were you drunk?
No. I don't know. It just didn't stick out to me. I had some notes, but they weren't that extensive. I do feel like the game had a very nostalgic feel to it. Like all the ads were very nostalgic. They had the World War II veterans come out at the beginning. And, you know, it's the NFL's 100th Super Bowl. 100th Super Bowl? 100th year. Not the 100th Super Bowl.
Right.
So I did feel like the theme of the whole thing was just nostalgia.
That's true. All the commercials were like flashbacks to the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, there was a lot of 90s pop culture references. Oh, yeah, the commercial with Bryan Cranston as in The Shining. It was like a Mountain Dew commercial, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the game was, it was okay.
I was surprised that the score wasn't higher. I was surprised that San Francisco held Kansas City to under 20 points for the vast majority of the game. I cannot believe that they let Kansas City come back like that. And, of course, we got to eat some crow about Patrick Mahomes. You know, you win a Super Bowl, you're elite. Yep. That's my only requirement. Eli Manning got 2 Super Bowls. Yeah. Dude's elite. So you put Patrick Mahomes in that category. I was thinking about what irks me about him, why I get so irked with him. I think it's more of I don't like change. And it really is the shuffling in of the new guard, which again, the whole nostalgia thing, I mean, it's the end of an era for football. I mean, you didn't have any of the elite older quarterbacks in the Super Bowl.
No, as a matter of fact, Drew Brees was the only one that made it to a championship game.
Right. So
I think
it's that. I think that's what kind of bothers me about Patrick Mahomes. And also that he's already been heralded by the media as the next Michael Jordan, which I just think is ridiculous. Yeah. Troy Aikman said that in a broadcast one night, and I was like, you are an idiot.
You gotta say, well, you know, there's something there. You know, we really thought that he was going to be figured out and teams were going to be able to stop him.
Well, rarely even on YouTube, as one of our listeners said, Pat Mahomes is more of a passing quarterback. So he corrected us there.
Yeah. He seems to be pretty smart. Bruce Arians said he's one of the smartest players. He's a
little like Russell Wilson where he's a passer but will run when he needs to. I think he uses the running more selectively.
Which is how I prefer. Yeah.
Right.
This is a new era, man. You know, we had 2 teams in the Super Bowl that hadn't been in a long time, and it was nice to see Andy Reid finally win one.
Yeah, I do like him.
Yeah.
I like Andy.
I did think the 49ers were going to win. That's who I bet on. I was really disappointed in how they played out the last few minutes, but, you know, that's Kyle Shanahan. You know, he blew the double-digit lead with Atlanta, blew a double-digit lead
come on.
He
was
49ers.
Like the offensive coordinator there, right?
Yeah. And, when the 49ers got the ball back, I think there was a few minutes left in the fourth quarter. They were up by 3, right? And I had said to you, I said, well, they're just going to run the clock out now. This is, the Kansas City might get the ball back with a few minutes, but, 49ers is just going to run the clock out. And I'll be darned if they didn't throw the damn ball in an incomplete pass on second down. That just ruined it. I was like, oh, they just lost the game. That was it. So it was a good game. It wasn't very entertaining like you like to see, but it wasn't bad. It definitely wasn't Pittsburgh Arizona Cardinals game. That was one of the best Super Bowls ever, if you ask me, as far as entertainment value is concerned. But
I'm glad it wasn't a blowout one way or the other.
Right. Used to, the Super Bowl was always a blowout. And it wasn't until probably the 2000s when the Super Bowl started becoming really good competitive games. Used to, man, the Super Bowl sucked. It was always the championship games that were the good games. So it's good to see that, we've got good games at the Super Bowl. But this one was, it was kind of a snooze fest, I thought. One thing that drove me crazy, and it's driven me crazy for a while, we talk about it here on the podcast a lot, is the officiating. Now, the officiating in this wasn't bad, but it wasn't consistent with how they officiate during the regular season. And that drives me crazy. I mean, it's normally like that. But this one was just kind of ridiculous. I counted four times where the quarterback got hit in the helmet while he was throwing or after he had thrown the pass, and it was never flagged. 4 times.
They got the Jameis Winston treatment. Maybe it's the young guys. They figure they can take it.
But it's just not consistent, because if you're going to do that in the regular season and call flags and give 15 yards to the opponent, you got to do it in the Super Bowl too.
Right, but they're not consistent during the season. They call it sometimes and sometimes not other.
I think that's the biggest problem with officiating, is the consistency. But that was really the only issue I had with the officiating last night.
I think that they're more conservative in these big games because so many people are watching.
Yeah, definitely. There was a couple of hit out of bounds where I was like, ooh, that would have been a flag during the regular season. But hey, it's done. It's over with. Kansas City Chiefs are the champions. AFC got the title again.
I know. We were just talking about that. The Patriots got it last year. What about the year before?
Eagles,
I don't remember.
Eagles, I think, are the last NFC team that has got it.
Ugh. We need the Buccaneers to represent us.
I know. Come on, Bucks. Step up. All right, let's get to some Bucks news.
Okay.
You got any?
Not really. Joe Bucks fan is on a tear. They've gotten a bunch of comments from players about the Jameis Winston situation. That's all they've been asking about. They did ask Joe Staley what he thought about Ndamukong Suh, and basically Joe Staley looked at him like he had 3 heads and said, "Yeah, Suh still got it, the same as he was in Detroit." So,
it's the people have been saying that he just doesn't have it like he used to. That's insane to me. I watched the guy. He's just a great football player. He's a great strategic good football player and a great technical football player. He rarely messes up, and he's just always in position. He's doing the right stuff. He's a very good player, if you ask me. I agree with Joe Staley. How about that?
Big Nasty, the Buccaneers fan, super fan, got into the Ford Football Fan Hall of Fame.
Oh, he did make it in.
He did.
I knew he was a finalist. Yeah. Well, speaking of which, John Lynch did not make it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame again.
So, not only did he not make it into the Hall of Fame, but he lost the Super Bowl. It's a rough weekend for John Lynch.
Yeah, John Lynch is not used to having these types of losses, I don't think. He's a guy, he's won Super Bowls with different teams, and I fully expected him to go with the 49ers and win there, too. He's had success everywhere he's gone.
But it is impressive how quickly they turned that organization around.
Very impressive.
So I think that they'll be back. I've got some NFC South news. Greg Olsen was released by the Panthers.
Yep.
He's a free agent.
Another end of an era there.
Yeah, exactly. All these old guard players. And then Vic Beasley with the Falcons is going to be a free agent. And the Falcons have announced that they're not going to try to re-sign him.
That's interesting. Must be something there. Stephen Gilmore got Defensive Player of the Year.
Who is that?
He plays for the New England Patriots. As a matter of fact, him and Jones both got, Gilmore got 21 votes. Jones got 14. TJ Watt got 10. Shaq Barrett got 2.
That's ridiculous.
I know. It really, really is. It really is. I'm just befuddled by how.
Who votes?
Most likely it's the reporters, media
Probably.
people. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. But you hear the argument that Tampa gets no respect because it's a small market team and all that good stuff. Small fan base. That's what that means when you hear people say small market team. Because there's small markets like Green Bay, which is the smallest market in all of professional sports, I think. But they're not considered a small market team because they have a huge fan base all across the nation, all across the world. If we want to change our small market status, we need to get more fans. Let's do that.
Start proselytizing.
Yes. It is up to the fan base to do that, if you ask me.
And people are really attracted to up-and-coming teams.
Yeah, especially if they're like considered underdogs and all that good stuff. Former 49ers and Raiders star Aldon Smith is trying to make an NFL comeback. We had talked about him quite a bit
Really?
on the podcast. Yeah. He's currently suspended indefinitely by the league for multiple off-the-field incidences. But he's been training at Jay Glazer's unbeatable gym in West Hollywood. His last game was for the Raiders in November 2015. Now, Jay Glazer has come out and said, he's off the drinking, off drugs. He's really busting his butt. But you would expect a guy to say that. But Jay Glazer is really pushing hard for Aldon Smith to get back in the league. To be honest with you.
That's so crazy. He hasn't played since 2015.
Yeah.
So that's 5 years.
Yeah.
How old is he now? He's probably in his early 30s.
That's a senior citizen for NFL
I know.
players.
He could probably get a league minimum job.
Well, no. I liked him when he was in the league, but
Yeah, I did too.
he just imploded. A little help from Kaepernick, but we won't go there. Some other NFC South news. The Saints are being accused of helping the New Orleans Catholic Church of running PR for some sex abuse scandals. How in the world did the Saints get involved in all this mess? Remember Bountygate? Bunch of cheating bitches. Now, the New Orleans Saints say they only did minimal behind-the-scenes public relations work on the area's Roman Catholic sexual abuse crisis, but attorneys suing the church allege, of course, that hundreds of confidential Saints emails show the team's involvement went much deeper, helping to shape a list of credibly accused clergy that appears to be undercounted. There's a quote that says, the Saints appear to have had a hand in determining which names should or should not have been included on the pedophile list. End quote.
Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of the list? So they're just putting the guys that they don't like on there? Not the other ones?
Now, the New Orleans Saints attorneys, they went to court to keep about 276 documents from being released to the public. Now, they said in a court filing this week that neither the Saints nor any of their personnel have anything to hide, and the team says it does not object to the emails becoming public later if they are admitted into evidence in the case. The Saints owner, Gail Benson, is a devout Catholic and close friends with the local archbishop. So it's interesting, their name is the Saints.
So it seems appropriate.
It does seem appropriate. So should we go out and support Somali pirates or something?
We could start a fleet in the Caribbean, maybe.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, go and start raiding Texas or Louisiana.
No, not Texas. They're all armed. So.
Hacking group, supposedly named Armine, based out of Dubai, hacked into the Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts of 15 NFL teams. The Buccaneers was one of them.
Why would they do that?
Well, they did it as a PR stunt to garner business. They've done this for years. They've broken into accounts for extremely high-profile people and businesses, including BuzzFeed, BBC, Netflix, WWE, CNN, New York Times. I mean, a whole slew of places they have just over the years. They didn't do anything really malicious. They just put on the Twitter feeds that, hey, hire us. Well, apparently what happened is they claimed that they notified the NFL and teams for business before they did it. And when they didn't get response back, they just went in and hacked their stuff and put their
come on.
URL on it.
Everybody gets those spam emails. Hey, I watched you doing something dirty. Send me some Bitcoin. I ignore those too.
I've never got one of those, man.
I knew someone that got into their work email.
If you're getting those, there might be some truth to it. But the Bucs were the only NFC South team to be hacked.
Well, did they put out anything good?
No.
No, did you see information?
Nope. No, all they did
So
is...
they're ethical hackers, kind of.
Yeah.
Like extortionists, a little?
No, it's a
marketing strategy.
Right. You can't say they're white hat hackers. They're close to it, but, they're not doing malicious stuff. I think they did say on one team that the team had been sold for... Oh, gosh, I can't remember. It was pretty funny, actually. Like the team had been sold to a Saudi Arabian businessman or something. Yeah.
They should have just changed the profile pictures or something to something really subtle. Like the Chiefs, they could have changed it to a chef picture.
The chefs.
The chefs.
The NFL and NFL Players Association met Thursday for a key day about ongoing labor talks for the new CBA. They also met today. Haven't gotten any information on that yet. The NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith has already started talking about a strike.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, he said, quote, "The reality is that if we want to hold out and get everything we want, that's probably going to mean a 2-year strike," end quote. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
He's posturing. They got nothing.
Yeah. The current CBA expires in March 2021, so next year.
I mean, if they go on a 2-year strike, that means those players are not getting paid for 2 years, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Yes, they've been talking to the players to start hoarding money and all this good stuff. But there's really, the issues that are being raised in this CBA are not
insurmountable.
Yes, to me they seem very easy to get an agreement on. Agreements have already supposedly been reached on several key issues, including changes to the league's drug policy and discipline policy. They're probably going to make marijuana not a drug that's
prohibited
or that's they test for.
Interesting.
Benefits improvements for current and retired players, changes to training camp rules, which includes limiting the amount of contact teams can have in training camp again, as well as the amount of time coaches can keep them on the field. Eventually, it's going to be where they don't do anything in training camp except take pictures. But the two contingency issues that they're dealing with right now is how much the players' share of revenue is going to be. Currently, it's no less than 47%, which surprised me. I didn't realize it was that high. They basically get half of the NFL revenue money. The NFL players do. But the big one is extending the season to 17 games. The NFL players are fighting against that. The association is anyhow. Apparently, the league and the coaches want it. Well, I don't know about the coaches, but the league wants it.
Heck yeah, more money. I don't know how I feel about that.
Anytime we can get more games, I'm for it.
Well, I mean, it's only one more game, right?
Yes, right now.
So maybe not. I just, it takes such a toll on their bodies.
Yeah, well, what they're going to do, what they had talked about, is making players have to mandatory take games off. You can't.
But they don't want to do that either.
Right, the players don't.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's their big issue. They don't want to have to take games off. But the meeting Thursday only included 30 of 32 teams because the 49ers and Chiefs we're preparing for Sunday's Super Bowl, but the meeting today, all 32 teams had representatives there for the Players Association. Now, the next likely flex point would be the NFLPA's annual meeting in March in Key Biscayne. They were supposed to vote today on whether they were going to have the 17-game season. This is just the NFL Players Association, whether they would agree to it. I have not heard anything on that yet. Next podcast will give you an update. But the meeting in March in Key Biscayne, the NFLPA will have to elect a new president since the current president, Garrett Winston, is no longer on a team and therefore, according to NFLPA rules, can no longer hold the position. Also, in addition to that election, players likely will take some sort of CBA-related vote at their March meeting. Either they'd vote on the proposed new CBA, or if that's not an option, they'll likely hold a vote on whether to authorize the players to strike in 2021 if no deal is approved by then.
To me, they should not be talking about a strike this early.
This early, yes, I know. Well, they're trying to
You're gonna make the NFL skittish.
Yeah.
And dig in their heels because to me it's extortion.
Yeah, well, it sounds good that they're trying to get all this done before next year.
And it doesn't sound like the issues, like you said, are at that big of an impasse. So it seems like there's stuff that they can work out. To me, the 17-game season, it sounds good. We get an extra game. Maybe it's not that much on the players, but I don't think that that's an issue. I don't think that's your hill to die on if you're the NFL. If the players are like absolutely not, or
right, yeah, just put that crap off until
just wait till the next one, work on them.
Yeah, because it was a thing that just kind of popped up last year.
Yeah, and it seems like they've been kind of pushing it, and I don't know that people are really that ready for it.
Yeah. Of course, fans would love it, but it would change the game a lot, if you ask me, especially if they force players to have to take at least 1 or 2 weeks off during the regular season. I think that would just change everything, how the coaches have to strategize. And
yeah, you got to figure out a rotation, like which players can you afford to lose,
Right.
I would have them on a schedule so that your depth is rotating out.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we had, for instance, Sue had to take a week off, don't have Vita off that same week, have Nacho come in or whoever, Bo Allen.
Yeah. But it would basically be like 2 bye weeks for the players.
Right.
They get 2 bye weeks a year. If they only make them take 1 week off, what I heard is they were going to make them take 2 weeks off. So it'd be 3 weeks that players don't play.
With
and
the
they
bye.
they don't want to do that. Yeah, these players like to play, Nacho had put out a statement on the dog situation. Let's move to some Buck news here. This is really about all the Buck news I got. He said... It's just so fun. It's got how we love our outrage in America.
We
just
do.
get so. I mean, he had
That
to put
moral
out.
indignation, you know what it is? We don't have enough trouble in our lives.
That's right.
We are too comfortable, so we just get mad about everything.
Yes, you are exactly right.
It's just human nature.
Now he wrote a 4-page statement.
Wow.
Yes, where he vehemently denied the allegations that he abandoned the dog on the side of the road last month. They released it through their agent, Jeff Daly, explaining that they'd given away the dog named a Jitterbug, who ended up in a Florida shelter. Nunez Roches, also known as Nacho, says that in a statement, the couple have received threats prompting them to file a police report and hire an attorney. And I do believe that he ended up having to file a restraining order on some
Good
people.
Lord.
Yeah.
That is just completely unnecessary.
If you would like to read the statement, I'm not going to read the whole thing here because, like I said, it's 4 pages. It's on Pro Football Talk, NBCSports.com. But he breaks it down and explains. Look, we've had these dogs. We don't breed like we're not like kennel breeders. It's not a big business for us. We don't care about the money. We just have dogs. We like dogs. We've never had kids, so we treat the dogs like they're our kids. But then when they found out she was pregnant, they decided they can't have the bigger dogs, so they gave them all away. He said how that dog ended up on the side of the road, he doesn't know. But he is kind of PO'd with the animal rights individuals in Tampa that have been telling stories about this, and the animal shelter that jumped in on it as well. He says the story is completely false, and they've been working together with the family that did adopt a Jitterbug. They've been talking and texting with them and providing them with everything they need. So, no big deal. He called out the groups that falsely accused him, the Rescue Me Tampa and the Humane Society of the Nature Coast, both of which they sent cease and desist letters to from the attorney. Yeah, this is
Getting serious.
But that's the thing. I mean, it just turned into a
whole
mess.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're attacking his character, especially when you have pets, you love dogs, and you truly, before you have kids, you can't really appreciate the undertaking of having a child, and especially having pets that are also dependent on you.
Yeah.
It's a difficult situation.
It's just one of those things where, a reporter got whiff of this and they just ran with it because they knew it was going to cause outrage. They knew people were going to get upset because this guy's abusing his dogs. And, he got to his employers. The Buccaneers were looking into it, so he was basically, under the crosshairs between the public and the media and his bosses.
Right, and I think that he's a free agent this year. Don't quote me on that. I think he is. We'll have to look into it.
I'm quoting you.
I know. But, it could, if he's got a significant off the field issue, quote unquote, that the team feels like it's bad publicity, he's not one of those top tier players that's a shoe-in, I mean, it really could affect his career.
Right. Yeah, I'd be pissed too. Oh, okay. So more Bucks news. This isn't really news. This is more of just chit chat. Could the Bucks get new uniforms next year?
Everyone has been talking about this since we got the last new uniforms.
Well, everybody wants new uniforms.
Yeah.
But it does worry me, because I don't want the uniforms to be uglier than they are now. And that's a possibility.
Well, I think that they would go more conservative as far as designs go. I think they took a real risk with these.
Well,
they were very different.
Didn't they have Nike design these?
Yeah, I think it was partnered with Nike.
We did a whole podcast on this, I think, at one point. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because all over the web, Buccaneer jerseys are on sale half off.
Really?
And this is the same thing that happened when they did the jerseys last time. When they changed the uniforms, they cleared out their inventory, so they put everything at half price.
What I heard is I need to buy a new jersey. Well, they're still
I know.
half
I was shopping.
price.
Well, Nike on their site, they've only got Mike Evans left. No, no, Mike Evans and Jameis Winston. Last time I checked, I haven't looked in a couple of days, but they sold out. Like Godwin sold out. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody was like, I'm getting a Godwin jersey.
Good for him.
Uh-huh. So, there is the possibility we're getting new uniforms. If we do, it'll be announced. Usually, I think March or May is when they announced it last year or last time.
No, they got to do it before the draft because, they bring out the jersey for the guy.
Right.
So I think they would probably announce it before.
Isn't the draft?
April.
Yeah, so they do it in March.
Yeah, you said May.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. It's one of them L months. I always get them confused.
The N months.
So that's exciting. We might have new. I'll tell you, if they got to keep the word mark. The word mark, like I said, it's a work of art. I love it.
It's on his desktop.
Yeah, I've got it everywhere. Yes. Anytime I see a Buccaneers shirt or something with that word mark, I buy it. And the logo on the helmet and the helmet itself. I really like the helmet. I like the word mark. They got to keep those things. If they change it, and please don't go back to the sherbet.
That's what everybody's talking about. But the flag doesn't match that.
No, they would have to go back to Bucco Bruce logo. And I'm sorry, I just don't like it. I'm one of those people that it means a lot to me. It's not intimidating. And I think you need to have an intimidating color and logo and all that good stuff.
It's not toxically masculine enough for you.
That's right. Yeah, just not. I like the throwback uniforms we did there for a while. Back when Josh Freeman was here, we went back and did the sherbet uniforms, but not full time. No. Mm-mm. As a matter of fact, I became a fan because of Hardy Nickerson. He came from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was a big fan of Hardy Nickerson, and he left Steelers and he went to Tampa Bay. And there was a whole year there where I was just sitting there going, I can't become a fan of Tampa Bay. I was still a fan of Hardy Nickerson, but I was like, I can't become a Tampa Bay fan because their uniforms is ugly. And then they changed their uniforms. And I was like, those are some cool uniforms. And Hardy Nickerson was my boy. And I was really starting to get into some of the other players that were there. So I said, all right. It was the first time. I'd never been a fan of a team. I'd always been a fan of players. I was a fan of Lynn Swann, Tony Dorsett, Hardy Nickerson. But I never had a team, And I never really liked the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I liked a lot of the players on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, Tampa Bay was my first team that I became a fan of, and a large part of it was due to the uniforms. So don't go back to the orange uniforms. I don't know if I can deal with it.
You would.
I know.
Be miserable the whole time.
I would. I would probably not buy any of their gear, though.
Yeah, definitely not.
Which would really hurt them because I think I support the franchise. I'm a good 25% of their... How many jerseys do I have? Like 20?
I don't know.
Good Lord. Too many. That's just my jerseys. That doesn't include my shirts and jackets and hats.
So many shirts. You could get rid of all your other clothes.
Yeah, my wardrobe is all Buccaneers. I have Buccaneer pajama pants. Pajamas I wear all the time.
Bathrobe.
It's silly.
You need some Buccaneers underwear.
I don't have Buccaneers underwear?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. Put that on the list. I got Buccaneers socks. Okay. So anyhow, yeah, they'd probably lose out on my financial support in that aspect because although I do have a throwback orange Buccaneers hat, trucker hat that you love. You take it.
Yeah, I wear it all the time. Yeah. And I have my snow hat.
Yeah, you've got a beanie sitting right here on the desk, an orange one. I don't know if I could just watch it all the time though. That's my thing.
If they're going to go back to Bucco Bruce, they need to just make it Bruce Arians' face. That's my compromise.
I could deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not going to be a whole lot of news going on. Still waiting to see what's happening with Jameis Winston. Man, we've got so many players we've got to sign.
I haven't even started looking into it because I'm kind of not ready to face the truth yet. See how much of the roster.
Oh, I know.
We could lose. And it is the main guys, Shaq, Jameis, Sue, those guys, JPP. But it's like the other guys too, like the Nachos and Carl Nassib and Golston and, it's just, Peyton Barber even.
I don't see how we can keep everybody. It's just not going to be possible. And there's nobody on this team that I'm going to be fine with having gone. Even the backup guys, I'm like, man, we got a lot of good players on this team that I'd like. I like them.
No.
They're good people.
That's so upset. I'm just not even ready to deal with it.
Yeah, we're going to give ourselves a couple weeks before we dive into that. We'll probably wait until we find out what's going to happen with Jameis before we start looking at who's going to be on the chopping block, because that's going to be a big one. Depending on how much money he gets, if he stays, and Shaq Barrett. Those two right there, we're going to have like close to $90 million in cap space. But if Jameis stays, he's going to take up about 30. Shaq's going to take up 15, 20. That's a third of our cap space right there. Over a third. That was half.
The Buccaneers did send out letters to the season ticket holders and about renewal, and it had in there a line about the offense led by Jameis Winston, did all this stuff. So
that'd be funny if they.
I don't know. I mean, that could be a sign that he's here for the long haul.
I'll tell you what, it is such a conundrum. I have gone back and forth with it, and I would be fine with him staying. And somebody asked us this on Twitter, would we be confident with Jameis Winston in the playoffs? And I was immediately like, no, not at all. At this point, and this is 5 years in, at this point, no, I would not have confidence that Jameis Winston would not lose us a game.
Because he tends to, in high-pressure situations, he tries to do too much, and then he makes his Jameis Winston mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So then the follow-up question to that was, then why keep holding out?
Right, and that's the whole thing. But, you got to remember this is entertainment, and I'll be darned if this team is not entertaining. Jameis Winston's an entertaining quarterback. He has been ever since he's been here.
Joe Bucks fans started calling him Mr. Entertainment.
Well, it's true. Yeah. I don't think there's a more entertaining quarterback in the league, as far as making you want to either shoot yourself or have a party. It could be either one on Sundays. And I'm good with us keeping him, and I'm not going to be too heartbreaking if we don't keep him. It's really, I'm just like, I can understand if we don't. Let's put it that way.
It could go either way.
It could go either way.
I think that question about the playoffs, it's just the playoffs are such a completely different beast that you just don't know until you're there.
Yeah. Well, we had never seen Jameis Winston, and there was talk in the draft that we were going to
it was him or Mariota.
Right. So we watched the college championship game with him, right? It was him.
And Mariota. It was both of them.
They were. Okay,
I think so.
And Jameis Winston was embarrassing. I mean, he just got beat up.
He played so bad.
Yeah,
he had that deer in the headlights look.
Yeah, and I remember us sitting there going, "Oh my God, this is the guy they're talking about us drafting." And when we did draft him, I was like, "This is going to be a disaster." But I warmed up to him. I like his attitude where he just doesn't seem to care. He's going to sling it, and if he loses, it's water off a duck's back. I like that. And he wants to win. I mean, he seems to have a lot of gumption to win.
In the locker room, I think is behind him. Publicly, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I can't get a read on the guy. I really can't because I don't think he's cool. He doesn't seem to be hip or whatever the kids are saying now. He's just kind of awkward and goofy. And I don't know how that resonates with the other teammates, whatever.
Well, his personality in a social setting might be completely different from his personality in the huddle.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, you don't want him goofy in the huddle.
But I've seen him do some silly stuff on the field where I just sit and I think, man, the guys in the film room have got to be cracking up watching this stuff, That bunny hop one he did that one time, that was so crazy. I still haven't done a video of that.
You got to.
Yeah. So I'm of the opinion that if Jameis Winston stays, that's great. If Jameis Winston goes, I can live with it. I'm not going to be upset. Watch it doing that interception video. It really just blew my mind, but it even more solidified the fact that either way is fine. Because Jameis Winston, he will sling it, and he's going to make some spectacular throws, and the vast majority of his throws are going to be good. But then he's going to throw those damn interceptions. They're going to be boneheaded a lot of times, and he's going to lose us games. I mean, doing the math, he lost us easily 3 games. You could point to 3 games specifically and say Jameis Winston lost us those 3 games right there: Tennessee, Houston, and Week 17 against Atlanta. He threw interceptions. That was it. Game over. But then again, the guy can. He threw 5,000 plus yards this year, over 30 touchdowns. He's made Brashard Perriman look like Mike Evans. I think you could probably put any receivers out there and he's going to put up, 4,000 yards. So, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be exciting. one way or another, whether we keep him or get rid of him.
I just don't see BA giving up on him.
No, I don't either. No.
I think he would regret that for the rest of his life because he prides himself on, quarterback whisperer.
Yeah.
He works with anybody.
Right. Yeah. And
so have a first overall draft pick that he gives up on.
Yeah. He's never given up on a quarterback.
Right.
And he's developed some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So, I don't know, man. It's exciting. Entertaining. So, I saw that, Marcus Mariota is listed as like the 15th top free agent this year. I'm like, who in the world's going to pick this guy up? I mean,
Cleveland?
seriously.
Detroit.
When you...
The Jets. He's going to the Jets, baby.
Oh, God.
Miami. Could go to Miami.
Oh, wouldn't that be something? Tannehill goes to Tennessee. Mariota goes to Miami.
Yeah.
Now watch Mariota go to Miami and just...
Kill it.
Yeah, take them to the NFC Championship. Or AFC Championship. Wouldn't that be something? And they meet Tennessee in the championship. How awesome would that be?
It's never going to happen.
I know. Yeah, Mariota's just a bad quarterback. Yeah, we still don't know what's going to happen with Drew Brees. I saw that he is reaching out to broadcast companies looking to get into broadcasting. We don't know.
He would get a job in a minute.
Yeah, he'd probably do pretty good.
I don't know. He's dumb, though.
Well, he'd probably be a good spokesperson for Zales Jewelers or something like that. If you want a really good investment, buy jewelry.
It never depreciates. It's like a car.
Oh, my God.
I don't know. Like, he's football smart. He could probably handle himself talking about football.
Ugh. So we don't know about him, and it looks like there's some changes going on with Atlanta. They're getting rid of Beasley. Changes going on in the Panthers. Got rid of Greg Olsen. Don't know what's going on with Cam yet. Their whole coaching staff is made up of college personnel, apparently. So
Yeah, they'll probably draft somebody. That's my theory.
to replace Cam, or
Yeah,
you think they'll start somebody out of college, or are they going to?
I think so. Well, I mean, they're all college coaches. They always want to bring in guys that they can develop. They've been in the college scene, so they've seen a lot of quarterbacks that are coming into the draft. So they probably have a pretty good handle on the style that they like, who might fit their system. And that's their whole thing, is he's a rebuilder.
It's just weird. Ever since we've been in the NFC South, things have been relatively consistent. And it's been a long time since we haven't had to face Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, and Cam Newton. And now that might be done. All three of them might be gone.
I think Matt Ryan will stay.
At least two of them.
Yeah.
And, Matt Ryan, who knows how long he's going to be around.
Right. He could be benched in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Dan Quinn's last year on his contract. So at a certain point, he might get a little desperate.
Craziness, man. So what do we got coming up on the schedule? What's the next thing Buccaneers related we're looking forward to? Probably the signings.
I think it's on, I got to pull up my schedule. The 24th of February. Yeah, okay, here we go. The 24th of February is the Combine. So that'll be the next thing. And March 10th is the franchise tag deadline.
Okay, so that'll be the next thing we hear from the Buccaneers. Probably.
Yeah, and March 18th is the start of the 2020 league year, and free agency begins.
What date was that?
March 18th.
Okay, that's going to be exciting. The franchise tag day and start of free agency is going to be big for all of us, man.
Yeah.
All of us Buccaneer fans. All right, we're going to keep the podcast rolling. We probably will not be doing 3 shows a week for a while. We took a couple weeks off because...
We're a little fatigued.
Yes, and we had birthday parties and all that good stuff going on. So it was just, we had family in, and we had just been dragging. And today was the first day we've actually kind of got back to a normal schedule since before Christmas in our lives. So I don't think we're going to be doing it 3 times a week. I'm not sure, but there's just not enough news out there. We're going to be doing our debate. We got our notes. We're working on the pros and cons of keeping Jameis Winston. Molly is going to be pro. I'm going to be con.
Good cop, bad cop.
And I'm going to make everybody think that we should get rid of Jameis Winston.
Maybe we should switch. Don't need you poisoning the fan base.
So if there's no news coming out this week, that will probably be our next podcast, is the Jameis Winston debate. Now that we got some time, I'll also start having some videos coming out. I haven't had a chance to work on any, so keep an eye. If you haven't yet to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get the notifications when we put new ones up. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to be that one Buccaneer fan that does not see these videos.
All the cool kids are doing it.
All the cool kids are doing it, man. Peer pressure. So that's going to wrap it up for us. Till next time.
Go Bucks.